Hey guys, Ryan Earnhardt here from CreativeSoundLab.tv. Well, today I have something really cool for you. I have a funk track that I mixed entirely with free plugins. This is actually really cool because it's not just some cheap, plugins that are hard to use, but they're actually fantastic sounding tools for mixing. So I'm going to be sharing a mix that I've been doing. I did it a little bit on a live stream on Black Friday, but I'm also having some fun with guitar pedals and mixing. I had Donner send me a couple different guitar pedals. You see their power supply there on the upper right of the screen, one of the distortions, and the tape delay. And these things actually sound surprisingly great. I never thought that I'd get away with what I'm doing today. It sounds great on vocal. I'm going to show you some different effects that I'm using on vocal. Now this board has well, not all, but a lot of unbalanced outputs. And so what I'm doing is I'm just able to go right in, from the aux ends into the pedals and then back into the stereo return. So I'm going to be showing you a little bit of kind of some hands-on effects creation today with a really cool effect pedal. It sounds really good. It's basically a two separate channel delay pedal, and you can actually overdrive it. So we'll get to that in a second. But before we move on, we actually have a free download for today. This download is the free plugins Toolbox. And this is totally free for anybody on my email list. So if you want to get in on the action and download this 10-page PDF guide, it gives you basically a step-by-step of different saturation plugins that sound fantastic, different compressors that sound amazing, different EQs that sound really, really nice. I mean, man, I don't know why you need to buy plugins anymore, because I've spent the past month really going deep with this, and this guide really gives you everything. Okay, I break it down. It's edition 1. I'll be doing some various updates of it, but it's a really great guide. I haven't been excited about something like a free giveaway on the channel for a while now. I really think this will be beneficial to you. So let's go and check out this track. Some of you tuned into my live stream and saw me mixing some of this track. I actually did some editing for the raw tracks. You can actually get the raw tracks as well. That's another free download available today. Both of the downloads are available on the upper right of the screen or in the description below. So if you want to mix this track along with me, I have updated the files and made an edited collection of raw tracks. And that's what we're hearing today. This is a song called Bazooka Joe, and it's a cover song, I believe, performed by Shabutica. It's a funk band here in Asheville, North Carolina. Let's kick it off.
Today, I follow this to find direction, so I might find my way. These times don't change from now to then, and man's estranged from all he could have been. It's your time to keep him with his own way. Send it all. You can't devise your intermission when your final act arrives. Oh, oh. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, y'all, and I feel so good. Sit back, relax, and take it easy now, like I know just what to do. Tired these thoughts inside my mind till I'm so confused. And the tension grows to Bazooka Joe. Too many miles. Till we fall from grace, so follow it, so waste the waste. I feel the melody right in the heavens of the airwaves. And I say, what's he gonna pay to feel now? Look around, see the pain is real. No one could ever say it's still. The blood of our hands have built this song, yeah. Come home, land up free, and break down the walls that bind our soul. Follow shoot your fighting foes, say, give it away and then get some more. But you're trying to keep him with some way. Don't send it all. You can't survive your mission when your final lights are
Yeah. Okay. So, let me kill that. Yeah. You know, I'm not even really rehearsing this or, this was really planned. I'm just kind of goofing off. And that's what's really cool about this. I mean, last night I kind of hooked this up for the first time. I just got this white tape delay pedal in, like yesterday. And came over here and I'm just like, man, I gotta try this thing out, right? You know, I just went home so satisfied feeling because I don't know, I just felt like this was the right direction. You know, it just felt like, okay, now we're having fun. You know, it's one thing to use the screen, it's another to kick it up a notch and actually get involved and use our hands. So, on top of that, I don't know if I've announced this on the channel yet, but I actually have a Faderport 8 by PreSonus. So they've been super cool and let me check this out. So huge thank you to PreSonus. I approached them and I said, guys, I think your DAW is probably the perfect fit for the things that I want to do, just with the Pipeline XT plugin. You can load in a picture of the gear, you can take a picture for your records, or just make like a cool picture. So I thought that the visual aspect of Studio One was just amazing, and I was just sick of, I don't know, like a difficult kind of, I've had confusing DAWs visually, I've had confusing DAWs just with a workflow, and I needed something that could go between Mac and PC. So I've been checking out this Faderport 8. This thing has been great. I will be doing more videos on this in the future. But I mean, this thing has just been a joy to use. I mean, I can just kick it off. Well, take it back to 0.
1, 2, 3,
super easy. I can hit marker, and then I can just like create markers on the fly. let's see here. There we go. Sometimes I forget this shift button is still active, but it's really nice. You can just like immediately go to markers. You know, I haven't actually done anything with the mouse with this. I mean, I actually had it on my monitoring screen. That's what's great about this, is that I was monitoring live inputs from the console. And so a lot of times if I'm monitoring direct from the interface, because of, no latency, I'll have to go back and forth between the DAW, then to that screen, then the DAW, then that screen. Some of you may have like the Apollo console, right? It's like a little interface you can listen to live microphones on. So it's like that, right? A lot of interfaces will have a separate little console that gives you low latency monitoring. But if you're on that screen, well, how do you kick off the DAW? I mean, it's nice to be able to have it right at your fingertips, right here. In this case, I was actually creating markers, and I was on that page. I wasn't even looking at the DAW, which is pretty great. I also can do kind of the mixer view with a foot switch. So I actually have a piano switch that's doing this here. So, I can kick that up and kick it down. So I can be doing a lot with what I have, right? My feet, my 10 fingers. But let me do a couple different other examples that I was playing around with last night. Because it's worth mentioning. I mean, this is pretty cool. So you saw in that playthrough there that I did like a long tape delay. I did kind of a ramp up, which was kind of cool. Then I did a distorted kind of thing for that Chili Peppers kind of part. I did a slap back. So I want to kind of explore the gain staging of the mixer behind me, because there's something very interesting. I think I saw it on 60 Cycle Hum. I believe that's what it's called. A YouTuber that does like, gear, like guitar type stuff. And he was talking about this pedal. And he was saying that, if you like loop out, channel 1 back into the input of channel 2, it can kind of start to saturate a little bit. And he was like, it's maybe a good or bad thing depending on how you look at it. It's actually one of the best features of the pedal. Like, it sounds great. The pedal can saturate, and the pedal is dark sounding. It kind of degrades and gets darker with each repeat. So it sounds very musical. I mean, right away I was like, wow, that sounds great in a mix. That's a great sounding effect. I could make it sound like a reverb with kind of some short delays with some feedback. I could make it sound more longer. I can make it feedback and trail off, like the end of the playthrough of the song there. Very, very quickly, I was able to get sounds. And that's a key for great gear, is you're able to get sounds very quickly. It kind of just wants to play itself, right? So I've been very happy. Let me show you a little bit about that gain staging here. Okay, check. Okay, so let me just, I'm using my talkback mic here. Oh, and I actually got one of these. This is from Solomon Mics. Check this out. Hello, check, 1, 2. Hey. So, what's cool about using the talkback is that you can send the talkback to aux 3.4, which is just your effects pedals. How cool is that? Okay, let me go back to the normal mic here. Okay, enough goofing off. So what we have here is I brought the vocal track in as its own separate thing. I have the mix coming in, and then I have just the vocal track sent in as its own soloed track, right? And then from there, I'm able to use it and send it off with one of the aux sends here. So, yeah, right here. So, aux 3, 4 gives me the option of having it pre or post fader. And just so I could show you guys fully wet, I wanted to be able to pull down the fader and be able to show you what I was doing. So depending on which aux you use, there's a different configuration. 3, 4 could be either, 5, 6 is post fader, and then 1, 2 is pre-fader. So pre-fader would be great. I mean, just in case you don't know, pre-fader on an aux send would be ideal for a headphone mix for musicians. Because when somebody makes a change at the board, you don't want their headphones to change. You want their headphones to stay put. However, if you were doing a vocal track and you had a send to a reverb, you don't want to pull down the vocal or make big adjustments and then the reverb's still screaming away at full volume. You want it to go with that volume. You want it to be linked. Or you want it to be basically following the moves that you're doing at the fader, right? And so therefore it's post fader, and that's a good use for post fader, is something like an effect where, you know, there's a musical reason to have an adjustment going on. So here I have it pre-fader just so I can give you the full mix, but this is the vocal track, and as you can see it's going, this is the aux right here. It's just, that's it, you know. So I just have it plugged into the 1/4 inch out. That's an aux. And this is aux 3. And this is aux 4. That yellow cable is aux 4. And then it's going in a stereo return right here. So it's like basically a freebie stereo track that allows inputs into the board, right? So if you want to have a stereo reverb, or here I have the DAW stereo playback. So yeah, it just allows me to play something in through the board without it being a mono channel. And that's my setup today. I have the stereo delay, which is the white tape by Donner. And then I have the Dark Horizon, also by Donner, and this right here. So I don't have to use these faders necessarily, but I wanted to because it's visually it's more obvious what's going on. It's hard to see what's going on with these knobs. So visually you can see the meters, and you know what's going on based on a quick look on screen. So I went with that option just to send it through the faders, but I don't have to. I could send it right there. So anyways, here's a little bit on different effects. I'm going to set this up, and I'm going to send it less signal, send the tape less signal, and I'll boost the input back in. And I want you to listen. It'll be clean, right? So this actually is kind of a boost at the end here. So I'll back it off a little bit, and I'll make sure this is clean. I want you to pay attention to that. Then I'm going to follow it up by driving the input and boosting here, and then turning down the stereo return here. And when we do that, it'll overdrive, and it does it in a really, really nice way. It's almost like a free compressor. This is true for any piece of gear, right? You always ask the questions, what happens if I push it or pull it or starve it? You know, you just try different gain staging and see what happens when you have a signal too loud or maybe a little bit too soft. You know what happens. So I was experimenting with that, and it sounds really cool. I mean, it sounds really, really nice. It has a really nice texture to it that, I don't know, it's like a dirty slapback. So yeah, let's check it out.
find my way. These times don't change from now to then, and man's estranged from all he could have been. But you're trying to keep him with the same way. You gotta let it fly, don't send it out. You can't survive your intermission when your final act arrives. Well, it's so hard to find a reason in this world we're living in today. I follow this to find direction, so I might find my way. These times don't change from now to then, and man's estranged from all he could have been. But you're trying to keep him with his own way. You gotta let it fly, don't send it out. You can't survive your intermission when your final act arrives.
Okay, so you can hear the difference in the gain staging, right? I can push more gain into the pedal, and there's not only the channel gain for that particular aux send, but also a master gain for aux 3. And so I can push both. I can also turn up the pedal, which is the far left two knobs. It's kind of like a wet dry, but I think it's more like kind of a very extreme, very just extreme level, because I think the dry is actually still in there a little bit. And so you can hear the texture. The texture is a little bit different. It's actually a lot different if I push a lot of signal into the pedal, and I think it's really cool. Now, another thing I want to try, this is just me kind of goofing off, is actually well, two things. So the board actually can take that group, because I have two faders for the stereo tape delay, but I don't have to have it left and right as a stereo. I could just have it as group 1, group 2, both mono. And so this is kind of like a setup where you have kind of buses and mixing for, a bus for kick, a bus for snare. You don't necessarily have to have a bus, like a stereo bus for kick. You could have a mono bus for kick, right? And then later you can get to other things like the stereo buses for, all your background vocals or your guitars. But for your kick, snare, bass, vocal, you can have a mono bus, right? So think of the effect as kind of a mono bus application here, okay? So I'm going to put it into mono and then mix varying times of the effect. I could have one short, one long, okay? So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to loop it back on itself. And so I'm going to be using 2 channels of the board versus using just 1 channel of the board. And it'll be basically a mono effect, but it'll be looping back through the channels. It'll make sense when I start goofing off, but let's check it out.
Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I feel so blue. Sit back, relax, and take it easy now, like I know just what to do. Tie these dots inside my mind till I'm so confused, and the tension grows to Bazooka Joe. morning, and I feel so good. Sit back, relax, and take it easy now. Like I know just what to do. Tie these knots inside my mind till I'm so confused. And the tension grows to Bazooka Joe. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, and I feel so good. Sit back, relax, and take it easy now. Like I know just what to do. Tie these knots inside my mind till I'm so confused. And the tension grows to Bazooka Joe.
Okay, so you can hear how, I can set it, and the fader on the left, which is group 1, was the short, and on the right was the long delay. But now I'm going to actually take it and just use one fader, and I'm going to loop through the pedal. And this is really interesting. It's kind of doubling back on itself. It's kind of like the... what was the name that I came up with it? Like the feed-forward, feedback compression, where you take the output of channel left, feed it into the input of channel right, but then both channels are still linked together, which is kind of interesting because, one channel controls the other, but it's also it's kind of like a chicken before the egg scenario where, the compressor is very reactive. So yeah, I'm going to loop it back through itself. Just have some fun. It's going to overdrive a little bit. It's going to be more extreme. I mean, already, this is pretty cool. With one pedal, right? A lot of you guys have effects pedals. With one pedal, I was able to have 2 different effects on a vocal. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's try looping back through itself.
Sometimes I wake up in the morning, and I feel so good. Sit back, relax, and take it easy now. Like I know just what to do. Tie these knots inside my mind till I'm so confused. And the tension grows to Bazooka Joe. So hard to find a reason in this world we're living in today. I follow this to find direction, so I might find my way. These times don't change from now to then, and man's estranged from all he could have been. What you're trying to keep in, well, there's no way. You gotta let it fly, don't send it off. You can't devise your intermission when your final act arrives. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, and I feel so good. Sit back, relax, and take it easy now. Like I know just what to do. Tie these knots inside my mind till I'm so confused. and the tension grows till Bazooka Joe continues. Spitfire, too real to lose. Eyes open wide open in the wild nights close, too many miles till we fall from. Spitfire, too real to lose. Eyes open wide open in the wild nights close.
You guys hearing that? Isn't that cool? So I kind of switched gears there. I mean, I showed you what I was going to show you, and then I kind of moved on to the next thing. But so this happened when I had everything hooked together, just on these two, and then I realized, like, man, that horn bleed in the vocal mic is really cool. Like, it's creating this almost synth pad, psychedelic kind of thing that's just going nuts, distorted but delayed in the background. Let me rewind it. As you saw there, I put in the bleed back. I edited it out and then I put it back just to demonstrate this part. But check this out. Spitfire, too real to lose. Eyes open wide open in the wild nights close, too many miles. Till we fall from grace, so follow it to the waste, the race. It feels another than air, right in the heavens in the airwaves. And I say, what do you gotta pay to feel now? Look around, see the pain is real. No word could ever say the steel. The blood of our hands built this home, yeah. Come on, land up free and break down the walls that bind our soul. Follow to your body, hold, say, give it away and then get some more. So trying to keep me with some way.
fire, spit fire, too real to lose. Eyes open wide open in the wild nights too close, too many miles. Till we fall from grace, so follow away to erase the race. To feel the night and air, right in the heavens in the airwaves. And I say, what do you gotta pay to feel now? Look around and see the pain is real. No word could ever say in steel. The blood of our hands built this song, yeah. Come on, land up free and break down the walls that bind our soul. Find the truth you're fighting for. Say, give it away and then get some more. But you're trying to keep me with its own way. You gotta let it fly, don't send it all.
Okay. So not that all those things would be perfect for the song, but I mean, you can see how easy it is, right? And I've been saying for years, man, you guys gotta just get your hands on some stuff in the studio. You have a lot of this gear. Have fun with it, you know? I mean, this has been a blast. I can't believe I didn't do this any earlier. And, you know, if you have a mixer, like a little Mackie mixer, a little Yamaha 10-channel, 12-channel, 16-channel mixer, more than enough, you know? And yeah, I'm breaking my own rules, you know? It's like I've said for a long time, like, hey, use a reamp box, right? And that's true. Like, when you're trying to replicate a guitar tone and you're trying to do it to the highest level, you want to use the best method. But this is, I believe, unbalanced, so, I mean, it works. And I mean, even if it chopped the tone in half and kind of butchered it, I mean, it's kind of a weird effect anyhow, so that's just part of the flavor and the weirdness. Okay, so I'm going to leave it here. Don't forget, if you want the free guide, you can check it out. It's in the description or the upper right of your screen, and that is the free plugin Toolbox. It's 10 pages of mixing tips, different plugin highlights that are all free. They work on Mac and PC. It's not a promotion where the plugins are free for only a couple of days. These are plugins that are free, as far as I know, you know, indefinitely. And so these are plugins that are actually free, and they're great. So I give you kind of my favorite presets. You know, I have a lot of screenshots in there, a lot of descriptions on how to get certain sounds. Like if you want to make a compressor react like a distressor, here's kind of how to do it with this plugin. So a lot of very practical advice of here's how this relates to other pieces of gear. If you want an 1176, do this. If you want, you know, a DBX, well, do this with this plugin. So I'm trying to help you make those connections and understand, okay, you know, this plugin, if I just do these settings, it should work, you know? Some plugins have like crazy release times of like over 500 milliseconds. Like, who uses that, right? So I understand when the plugins are difficult to use because they just kind of let you do whatever. There's no guidance. So that's my goal, is to say, you know, okay, historically, you're going to be kind of within this range, okay? 1176, the attack time is going to be super fast, right? Like, I mean, I think under 1 millisecond. It's really in microseconds. But, you know, you get kind of the range, the ballpark of what is really going to work, and then you can have a lot quicker time setting some of these plugins. I mean, we're talking about just weird stuff that isn't emulating anything, but it can get you sounds fast. Okay, I'm tired of blabbing here, but let me know what you think of this video. I'll be hanging out, comments below.